Hi, this is Mike Bowen for Cobb Vision, and today I want to talk about the way that I look at work. I've learned quite a few things over the years in my profession, which is in information technology, business intelligence. And I've always tried to also make sense of the humanities, the liberal arts. And so in combining those together, I've come up with an interesting set of guidelines for understanding the nature of work. And here's how I see it. I call my thing, my view, the way of the servant, because for most of us, we have to work for a living. Most of us don't inherit great wealth. Most of us don't possess great power. Most of us have to figure out our way through the world. And we do so by learning something of value and then applying those skills, and that goes through many years. So when I found myself at a particular point about 10 years ago, having mastered a very particular area of my own industry, I stopped and said, well, which direction do I want to go? And as I did that, I came up with the way of the servant, because we are in a service industry and most of us serve other people for our values. So I'm going to read from my essay, which I think I wrote in 1990, maybe 2005. So that's about 10 years ago. Yeah. So there's 3 parts. And the first part is the role of ambition. The second part is the role of mastery. And the third part is the role of power. So we start, as a young person, with ambition. In the role of ambition, there are several people. And the first person that you become is the clueless newbie. Okay? The clueless newbie has no idea, but he's absolutely dumbstruck by the possibilities. And he knows it. And he's just asking questions and trying not to get on anybody's nerves. He wants to get in on this because he realizes the value of this whole area of expertise. What the newbie needs most of all is to be taken seriously. He needs to try something. He needs to do it. Second on the level is the apprentice. Now the apprentice knows what he wants to do within this area of expertise, but not quite how. He has skills, but not experience. He has ambition and drive, and he's out to prove something. He's full of, I can do this, and hates making mistakes. So he's looking for ways to know or ways to do what he knows can be done. And so he sets out to find the right tools and the right skills. He hates hearing, well, it's been done and your thoughts have been thought before, but his call sign is determination. Okay? He's aiming to be graceful. What the apprentice needs most is a win. Next is the workhorse. Also, I think of them as the journeyman, because I think of this in terms of apprenticeships towards mastery. But the workhorse, in my craft, that of software, it takes at least 2 years to get to know anything about anything. Whatever the tool is, and you're lucky if you get to pick a good tool, you're going to be using it inefficiently for at least 2 years. Okay? Even if it's just a hammer, you can get good at a hammer in less than 2 years. But unless you have the good fortune to get onto a very well-organized project that allows you to concentrate on a decent variety of applications with a single tool, you're going to fumble around with it. But the workhorse knows his tool set. He knows he can make it do whatever it's supposed to do. He knows the ins and outs. He is confident and he is competent. And you can throw anything at the workhorse and he can explain it in the language of his tool. He'll make it work, and that's what he likes to do. The workhorse needs a steady stream of work and a stable environment. The workhorse stands on the brink of mastery. He knows 2 or 3 ways to accomplish the same task, and he stands in fear of the irrelevance of his tools. At the top of the roles of ambition is the hotshot. And the hotshot is pretty much achieved mastery. He's explored the limits of his tool And he's made it do things that it wasn't even designed to do. And he's ready to get the engineers of the tool and tell them what they ought to do next. He's arrogant with his capabilities, and he's ready to shout down pretenders. He has done the big thing with his tool set that it was designed to do, and now he's unstoppable. So he's hungry to go out and conquer. So what he needs is recognition of his mastery. Now there are the roles of mastery. So within the way of the servant, when you reach the level of master, you're going to go one of two ways. The go-to guy. The go-to guy is the one that you go to for results. He's the hotshot who is now dedicated to creating others in his own image. He's all about market domination. He's earned the respect and envy of hotshots, and he's the first person a newbie wants to talk to, even though the newbie doesn't necessarily deserve an audience. But the go-to guy must be approachable and gregarious. He can see the big picture, but he's focused on results. He delivers. The go-to guy needs resources and opportunity, and then you point him and shoot him, and he builds momentum and seeks to establish permanence through engendering real-world experience. So he's out there to conquer the world. The other role of mastery is the guru. The guru is like a go-to guy, but as the go-to guy seeks domination in the world of application, the guru seeks perfection of the tool. He adds to mastery the extraordinary details and subtle refinements of technique. He is worldly, but he extrapolates and projects. He is the keeper of the integrity of the tool set that refines its way. So he seeks to establish permanence through engendering adherence to conceptual beauty and completeness. We all know a guru in Yoda. Yoda is a guru. He wants to talk about the subtle refinements of technique. And so the guru hates misapplication of the tool set. So in the way of the servant, below mastery is ambition. At mastery is balance. Above mastery is power. And the ultimate servant tries to move in all these three directions at once. There are three roles of power. The first is the Lord. And when you look at people in power, you can definitely tell what kind of power person they are. The Lord is the man with long arms, busy hands, and a loud mouth. He is the boss man, and he knows you very well. He makes it his business to make your business taking care of his business. The function of the Lord is to attach himself like a lamprey at the base of your skull and insert himself into your thought processes so that you consider your every action with respect to the Lord's business. He lords over you. The Lord employs spies and sergeants. He has eyes and ears and arms everywhere. What the Lord fears most is treachery and heroism. For these are the generators of unpredictability. The Lord wants no surprises. And don't nobody bring me no bad news. The Lord is a master planner and a strategic thinker. He gets his fingers into everything. The second role of power is the demiurge. The demiurge is the second soul to God. His power is to generate awe and inspiration through magnificent acts of creation. I want to repeat that. The demiurge's power is to generate awe and inspiration through magnificent acts of creation. The demiurge consumes resources, is impatient. He's a visionary, seems to pass through life with a different sense of time and space. You don't understand how this person does what they do. He's a creator. He's a destroyer. He's urban renewal. He is revolutionary. He is dramatic. He splits the world in two, and there are those who stand behind him and those that stand in his way. The demiurge is already an irresistible force. The most important question is, where does the demiurge get his license? Because very rarely does the demiurge play by the rules. The demiurge sometimes seems like his own source of power. The final role of power is that of the primary. And the primary is ineffable. The demiurge builds the amusement park and the roller coaster. The Lord makes you wear the proper clothing, pay admission, stand in line, and checks to see if you're tall enough for every ride. The primary is the reason you're all there in the first place. The primary sometimes doesn't need to exist, but he does. The primary is the reason. The primary is the idea. The primary motivates everyone and everything, including the Lord and the demiurge. He is unquestionable. He is irresistible. He is not only master of the tools, he is master of the environment. He stands with his finger on the center of gravity of his domain. He balances the Tao. Everyone believes they know the primary, and everyone thinks they know what he wants, but only the Lord and the demiurge get that close. On occasion, they find that there's nobody there. The primary takes all the credit and all the blame. He is the servant of the system of his own creation. And in that, he directs creation and he directs destruction. Okay? So the way of the servant is about service. And all of these people, whether you're an ambitious newbie or journeyman, you are serving the way. The lessons of middle age are that of servitude, of service, and the result is power. And it rather goes full circle, because once you reach the level of power, you realize there's another domain which you know very little about, and you may become a servant to that domain as well. The gangster wants to be primary, lord, and demiurge all at once, and he makes that mistake. But a hegemon disappears into his own system. He becomes one with the process and can assume any role. So this is the sublime beauty of the way of service, because it always cycles around in any direction you point it. And it is a guide to leadership and power and what the responsibilities are of every person in that chain of service, because we're all vessels of spirit. It's not about us. It's about the ideas that we possess. It's about the skills that we possess. It's about the dignity that we possess as human beings that allow us to work in service of higher goals other than ourselves. And this is the way of the servant. And that's the way I think about how work is organized, how purposeful work is organized. And those are the roles of ambition, mastery, and power. This is Mike Bowen for Cobb Vision. Thanks. Hope that helps.